Hey guys, welcome back. I'm JessTheMD. Thank you so much for joining me. We are watching an episode of Scrubs again, Season 7, Episode 9, My Dumb Luck. Let's jump right in.
Since the geriatric wing was being remodeled, Turk and I were herding old people to their new rooms. That's a closet, Mr. Jenkins. Come on, Mr. Benedetti, you're only a few thousand tiny steps away.
JD, we need to find a way to move these Gomers faster.
Do they have like a nursing home wing in the hospital? That isn't often a thing. Honestly, any hospital that I've ever worked in, there really hasn't been. There's a rehab wing or a rehab floor, but there's not typically like a nursing home situation in a hospital. That's usually a separate building, a separate facility, not anything to do with the hospital. The hospital is for acute care. Now, if these are patients that are in need of acute medical care, that's obviously different.
Hey, that's a nice jacket. What is that, wool?
It's a poly nylon blend. Do you really like it?
No. Bathroom's just out of paper towels.
Kelso goes from being a total asshole to actually having a heart, right back to being a total asshole.
Since Elliot revealed that Dr. Kelso is 65, the board was forcing him to retire in a few weeks.
This is even worse than when they decided that female staffers couldn't wear open-toed shoes. Obviously, this is much worse. Did that suck, too?
I feel like I've given my life to this place and got nothing in return. I mean, is there an MRI machine in my basement? Maybe. I guess I just wanted to end my career on my own terms, you know?
Ending a career on your own terms, I think that's universal in any field, right? Like, you don't want to be kicked out at the end of it. You want to be able to leave when you feel like it's time for you to leave. So I totally understand Kelso being like, well, this feels incredibly unfair. And it is. I don't know why he's being forced to retire just because he's hit 65. Like, that's so arbitrary. Does he have any other signs of not being able to do his job properly? Like, just because of an age, just because of a number, just feels plain stupid to me, honestly.
Dr. Cox had a patient that he hadn't been able to diagnose for 2 years. And he was back again.
Look, Alex, I'm afraid I still don't know what's causing all of this, so I'm gonna go ahead and treat your heart palpitations with beta blockers.
Turk and I couldn't resist playing a little game called Poke the Bear. So, Turk, yesterday I had this patient I just could not diagnose.
Wow, you must have felt like a real jackass.
I did feel like a jackass, but then I was able to figure out what was wrong with him because I'm not a jackass. I'm a good doctor.
Okay, it really does make you feel like a jackass when you can't figure out what's going on with somebody. I'm curious what Dr. Cox has actually done to help figure out what's going on with this patient with palpitations, EKGs, echoes, stress tests. I mean, there's a whole gamut of tests that he could run. I'm certain that he's run some or all of them. I'm wondering what the actual outcome was. Is this patient having PPCs? Hard to tell.
Why are you so gloomy? I thought you'd be super psyched that Kelso's being forced out of his job.
Dr. Kelso's being forced out? I did not know that. Will you excuse me for a moment?
I'm free! I'm free! I'm beautiful and I'm free! I'm free! Give me some sugar! It's finally over! I'm free!
Holy cow, buddy, are you all right? Ted? Are you not talking because your mouth is filling up with blood? You're gonna pass out, aren't you? Oh boy, there he goes. Yipes.
Well, good thing he's already at a hospital. Also, yes, he's free, but is streaking in your place of work really necessary? He's not leaving the hospital. After being hit by a van, he definitely needs some urgent medical attention.
At certain times in our lives, we all get introspective.
You taking it all in, too? Why don't you have a seat, son?
Actually, sir, my shift is about to start, so I should...
Son, I don't care if the cure for cancer was laughter and you had Nipsey Russell in your backpack. Park it. I want to get all nostalgic and crap.
What's that strange red puddle oozing towards us?
Oh, that's just Ted's blood. Apparently he bit off a chunk of his tongue. Anyway...
He bit off a chunk of his tongue.
And done. 23 stitches.
Here's some painkillers. I want you to take one of those every 4 hours, okay? And no trying to talk.
Depending on what those painkillers were, if they were opiates, which is probably what they would have given him for that, that's a lot of opiates to take all at once, and that can kill him, actually. That can cause respiratory depression, meaning his drive to breathe decreases enough where he dies. That's how, for example, heroin overdoses happen. Someone injects just a little bit too much, it depresses their respiratory drive, they stop breathing, and then they pass away. That was incredibly dangerous. And I know Ted is obviously depressed, and so there's just a whole lot going on there. But this right here could have killed him.
Jeez Louise, can you believe how many files I have on this guy? The only way I've been able to bind them together is with his bike bungee. Hang on to that for a second, will you please?
Sure.
Oh no.
I don't think he realized we were making fun of him earlier.
Yes,
Say what's
he
up with
does.
your arm.
Ow.
Oh boy.
Oh, that's gonna hurt. Oh! That could do some serious damage to the eyes. I mean, retinal detachment, there's so many things that can go wrong. Holy crap, that was dangerous. Cox is a doctor. That was some really petty behavior right there. I get it from Cox, but also, no.
Hey, if you really want to be useful, make like an orderly and take that urine sample down to the lab.
Follow me. Money, right?
How does that have anything to do with what Dr. Cox said?
What did Dr. Cox say?
Are they gonna forget his urine outside? It's gonna turn like a reddish purple color, and then they're gonna diagnose porphyria, which is incredibly rare and comes with a lot of vague symptoms sometimes that we don't think to associate with porphyria. With porphyria, people might often have things like severe abdominal pain, digestive issues, muscle issues like numbness, tingling, weakness, paralysis even, and, you guessed it, irregular heartbeats, palpitations. These actually are kind of questions that Dr. Cox should be asking as just part of a review of systems, and he may be able to come up with the answer of porphyria, but again, it's such a rare diagnosis that it's one of those things that we don't think about very often. The reason I thought about it was just this random event of having urine outside. We know that with porphyria, urine that is exposed to the light will turn like a reddish, brown, purplish color.
You know, when I was an intern, they made us work 60-hour shifts. Quite a few colleagues got drummed out because they couldn't cope. The rest of us were so sleep-deprived we could barely manage to stay sane. I'll never forget the day we caught Seth Finkel gently cradling a cadaver head which he swore belonged to his ex-girlfriend, Millie. A year later, Seth actually did kill Millie. Ironically, Millie donated her body to science, and that spring we caught another intern cradling her dead head.
You know, this guy is horrified. We're horrified, but also the things that happen that you just can't unsee, that when you close your eyes, you still can picture so vividly. It's horrifying that this is what he's laughing about, but just think about then the actual horrors he has seen through his career. If this is lighthearted, what else has he seen? And that should tell you, it's a lot.
So, Hermione, have you seen Mr. McRae's urine test?
I'm on it, Slick.
You don't remember where you left that cup of pee, do you?
No clue. We have to find it or he's gonna kill us.
Us? Try you. He's not killing me. Why is it getting harder to walk?
Uh-oh.
Oh no. Ouch.
Dude.
That was lucky.
Did that hit him in the throat? Poor JD. Ouch.
So, have you killed anyone yet?
What? No.
Well, you will.
Super.
It's a rite of passage for doctors. If you're lucky, it'll be a patient who's on his way out anyway. My first kill was a 19-year-old girl. She came in with severe abdominal pain. I thought it was appendicitis. Turned out she was pregnant and didn't know it. It was ectopic and she was bleeding internally. I should have checked for that.
some heavy stuff. And honestly, I don't know about any other physicians watching this, but when Kelso said that, my immediate thought was on the patients that I have lost. I guarantee you, Kelso never, ever made that same mistake again. Honestly though, with a 19-year-old female with severe abdominal pain, I'm thinking the two biggest things that can be extremely dangerous are ovarian torsion or ruptured ectopic pregnancy. So those are the things that we need to look for immediately with usually a pregnancy test and a pelvic ultrasound, hopefully with Doppler to rule out an ovarian torsion.
Where did I leave that stupid pee?
Dude, retrace your steps.
Okay, I remember we were walking this way, and you had to stop Mrs. Butler from wandering out of her room again.
No, Mrs. Butler. Back in here. Then I got paged to surgery.
Right, and I came with you to cheer you on and to hold your fedora. And then we went out to the ramp to celebrate.
There it is.
Why would it turn purple?
Why would it turn purple? Because this patient probably has porphyria. Though it usually doesn't turn that color purple, it turns this color purple. And honestly, it's more of a reddish brown color than a purple. Sometimes can lean purple, but definitely not that beautiful lavender color that they got there.
You know, there are some things I sure as hell will not miss about this place. Like how more often than not medical skill doesn't matter. It all comes down to dumb luck.
Okay, I'm Googling purple pee.
Google that bitch.
That's it. We left it in the sun. If urine exposed to UV light turns purple, it's a sign of a rare genetic disorder called acute intermittent porphyria.
Symptoms include bloating, high blood pressure, seizures. Cox's patient has all of those. He figured it out. 1, 2, 3.
In his face.
I really don't think that medicine boils down to dumb luck. That was crazy. I think part of it is that we inhale so much information during medical school that it doesn't all necessarily stay at the forefront of your mind. I will say, however, that the medical knowledge is an incredibly important piece. Whether you remember every single little detail, which honestly is impossible, there's way too much in medicine to remember every single detail, or like most physicians, I would say, you remember a solid amount of it, you remember some details, and then for some of the other details, you look it up.
What the hell is this? What's the occasion? Did Barbie finally wax her tiny annoying mustache?
Stop saying mean things about me. I'm not even talking to you.
We diagnosed your patient, buddy. He's got acute intermittent porphyria.
What? If it makes you feel any better, it did almost take us 3 hours.
Oh, for the love of God.
That moment when the light bulb goes off and you're like, holy shit, why didn't I think of that? That's what just happened there.
Bob, there is finally a diagnosis on Mr. McCrae. He has acute intermittent porphyria. Now his insurance company wants him discharged immediately. I'd like to fudge the paperwork a little bit, keep him around longer, and teach him how to manage his disease.
No.
The paperwork fudging thing, just no, totally unethical. There are ways to manage this, and this guy can definitely see an outpatient primary care doc. And while I fully understand that in some places it is much harder to be able to find a primary care doctor, but this is something that we can definitely handle in the outpatient setting. He doesn't need to be hospitalized to learn how to manage this.
Well, I guess you should go, Boone.
Really? Thank you, sir. So you think my next 20 years here will be a nightmare?
No. I think you'll love it.
Well, that literally gave me chills because yes, while it is a nightmare at times, there are so many things in medicine that just also really make it so worth it. And honestly, I don't think anyone would stay in it if the good parts didn't outweigh the bad parts. Yeah, he is gonna love it. It's gonna be hell, especially residency, but he's gonna love it. He's definitely going to nostalgically look back, and there will be parts of it that he's like, holy crap, how did I live through that? And there's gonna be parts of it where he's like, that was absolutely amazing.
I have news. Mr. McCrae, you have acute intermittent porphyria. Now, while that is manageable, I'm afraid there is no cure.
And then we got a response we didn't expect.
Oh, man. I couldn't be happier.
Excuse me?
Just knowing what it is makes it so much easier to deal with, you know?
Yeah.
And then I saw something click in Dr. Cox. What Mr. McCrae was saying is that the enemy you know is always better than the one you don't.
This is something that comes up all the time. When someone is dealing with chronic illness of some sort and their symptoms are so vague and no one has been able to figure out what's going on with them, that is so much more stressful than actually knowing what it is and having some sort of directed treatment for it, okay? Even if it's incurable, you know what you're dealing with. The unknown is so much worse because you don't know which direction it's going to go, what the potential prognosis is, what the outcome might be. And those unknowns open up this whole bag of fear that you're like, I don't even know what's going to happen. I think knowing what to expect is kind of the biggest part of this.
Well, Bob, your employees really stood by you. They pointed out to the board that, hi. Well, you run a tight ship, and actually would like you to stay on.
Girls, thank you for saving my job. The one thing I wanted was to end things on my own terms, and since you're letting me, you can shove it up your ass, Rodney. I'm out of here.
As hard as the job can sometimes be, it was his life. There were amazing parts. There were hard parts. All of those things made up this 40 years that he was at this hospital. I think it's amazing that he actually got to leave on his own terms. Telling the board member to shove it is so incredibly Kelso, and nothing to say about that other than I'm glad that he got to leave on his own terms. That whole time that he was reflecting, I think that was just his processing of, okay, I really am gonna leave. He did run a tight ship. He did do a lot for the hospital. He did make a lot of the hard decisions, and he was well aware that they weren't the most popular decisions, but he did them for the good of everybody and trying to balance, again, hospital admin with patient care. I say this, I think, every time I watch these episodes, so let's just go ahead and assume I absolutely loved this episode and pretty much every other episode of Scrubs. If y'all enjoyed this, please leave a like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel. It really helps the girl out. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm JessTheMD. I really enjoyed spending time with you. I hope you enjoyed spending time with me, and I will see you in the very next one. Bye.